The Grand Galactic Council convened in the celestial conflux, a station so vast it eclipsed entire planets. Suspended in the void between galaxies, the conflux was a monument to the unity and power of the oldest and most advanced species. Its crystalline walls hummed faintly with energy, refracting the light of 3 distant suns into dazzling rainbows that danced across the dome ceiling. It was said that the station had been built by a long-extinct race, their technology so advanced that even the brightest minds of the current era could barely comprehend it. Inside the chamber, the air was heavy with tension. Representatives of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations filled the tiered seating, their forms as diverse as the stars themselves. Towering insectoids clicked their mandibles in irritation, their multifaceted eyes reflecting the chamber's light. Avian creatures perched on high ledges, their feathers shimmering like precious metals. Gelatinous beings pulsed with bioluminescent hues, and crystalline entities resonated faint chimes with every movement. At the center of the chamber, a holographic display flickered to life, projecting the image of humanity's fleet. 12 ships hovered in formation, their matte black hulls absorbing the light around them. By galactic standards, the fleet was laughably small. The ships lacked the imposing bulk of the reptilian dreadnoughts or the intricate, living designs of the avian bioships. To the assembled delegates, they looked like toys. The laughter began as a low murmur, quickly spreading through the chamber. A reptilian delegate, his scales glinting like molten metal, leaned forward with a predatory grin. "Is this a joke?" he hissed, his voice a low rumble. "This fleet looks like it belongs to scavengers, not a spacefaring civilization." An avian diplomat fluffed her iridescent feathers, her sharp beak clicking in amusement. "Perhaps they intend to dazzle us with their minimalism." The laughter grew louder, a cacophony of clicks, chirps, and resonant chimes. Humanity's representative, Commander Elena Vega, stood alone at her podium. She was a stark contrast to the opulence of the chamber, her uniform simple but immaculate. A single silver star gleamed on her chest, a rank earned through countless battles. Her dark eyes scanned the room, unflinching in the face of ridicule. "Our fleet may be small," Vega said, her voice cutting through the laughter like a blade. "But size isn't the only measure of strength." Her words hung in the air, silencing the chamber for a moment. Then the laughter resumed, louder than before. Vega stood still, her expression unreadable. She didn't need to defend herself with words. The fleet would speak for itself. Above the celestial conflux, the 12 ships awaited her orders. Their unassuming exteriors concealed technologies that no alien species had yet encountered, technologies born from humanity's unique history of struggle and innovation. Each ship was a testament to humanity's resilience, a blend of cutting-edge science and hard-earned experience. Vega activated her communicator, sending a silent signal. The holographic display shifted, replacing the image of the fleet with a new projection, Trial Field Alpha. The asteroid field was a chaotic expanse of tumbling rock and metal fragments, illuminated by the faint glow of a dying star. It was a place where countless ships had met their end, unable to navigate the dense gravity wells and erratic debris storms. "This is Trial Field Alpha," Vega explained, her voice calm but firm. "It is where humanity perfected its fleet's capabilities. Consider this, an exhibition." The laughter ceased, replaced by a ripple of intrigue. The delegates leaned forward, their attention captured by the unfolding scene. For the first time, they began to wonder if they had underestimated the humans. The fleet moved. Engines flared to life, leaving faint, glowing trails as the ships accelerated toward the asteroid field. Their formation was precise, almost surgical, as they approached the chaos ahead. In the council chamber, the delegates watched with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "They'll be torn apart," the reptilian delegate sneered, though his tone lacked the certainty it had held moments before. Vega said nothing. She simply watched as her fleet entered the field, confident that it would prove what words could not. Deep in the void of space, humanity's fleet hovered in perfect formation. To the casual observer, the ships seemed unremarkable, small, dark, and plain, compared to the massive, ornate vessels of other galactic civilizations. But beneath their humble exteriors lay technologies that were the pride of Earth's brightest minds. Each ship in the fleet had a name, a story. The Resolute, for example, was designed to operate undetected, its hull coated with a material that absorbed nearly all forms of radiation. The Endurance housed experimental shielding systems that could withstand direct hits from weapons far more powerful than any humanity had ever encountered. These ships weren't just tools of war, they were symbols of survival. Humanity had once been on the brink of extinction. When Earth faced the devastation of climate collapse, resource wars, and asteroid impacts, the human race did what it always had. It adapted. Forced to flee a dying planet, humanity had poured every ounce of its ingenuity into building ships that could endure the harshest conditions. The fleet was small because it had to be. It was built by a species with limited resources, a species that had learned to do more with less. Commander Vega stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Vanguard. The ship's interior was as efficient as its exterior, every panel and console designed with a purpose. Around her, the bridge crew worked in silent coordination. Lieutenant Arjun Patel, the fleet's tactical officer, monitored the displays with sharp eyes. Beside him, Chief Engineer Mei Lin made final adjustments to the ship's systems, her hands deftly moving across the controls. "Status report," Vega said, her voice calm but firm. "All ships are in position, Commander." Patel replied, "Engines are running at optimal levels. The fleet is ready for deployment." Mei Lin glanced up from her console. "The gravity manipulator is fully charged. If we need to use it, it'll be ready." Vega nodded. She trusted her team completely. They weren't just soldiers, they were survivors, each of them with a story that mirrored humanity's own struggle. Patel had once led a resistance group on Earth, fighting to protect his community from raiders during the final days of the planet's collapse. Mei Lin had been one of the engineers who helped design the first generation of humanity's spacefaring vessels. Together, they represented the best of what humanity could offer. Outside, the fleet began to move. The ship's engines emitted a faint, almost imperceptible hum as they shifted into a new formation. Unlike the massive dreadnoughts of other species, which relied on brute force, humanity's fleet was built for precision. Every maneuver was calculated, every movement deliberate. The Vanguard led the formation, its sensors scanning the asteroid field ahead. Trial Field Alpha was infamous for its unpredictability. The gravity wells within the field could tear apart even the sturdiest ships, and the debris storms were fast and deadly. But for humanity's fleet, this chaos was an opportunity. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Vega activated a holographic display. The asteroid field appeared in front of her, a swirling mass of rocks and metal fragments. She studied it carefully, noting the patterns in the debris' movement. "Lieutenant Patel," Vega said, "run a simulation. I want to see how the fleet will handle a full-speed traversal of the field." Patel tapped a series of commands into his console. On the holographic display, a simulation played out. The fleet moved through the asteroid field with breathtaking precision, weaving through the debris like a needle threading fabric. Each ship adjusted its course in real time, their movements synchronized by an advanced AI network that linked the entire fleet. "This is why they mock us," Patel said with a faint smile. "They don't understand how much work went into this. They think small means weak." "They'll understand soon enough," Vega replied. Her voice was steady, but there was a spark of determination in her eyes. "We've spent too long being underestimated. Today, we show them what humanity is truly capable of." As the fleet approached the asteroid field, the bridge crew fell silent. This was the moment they had trained for, the moment they had spent years preparing. The ships moved as one, a seamless blend of human ingenuity and machine precision. And as the first fragments of debris began to bounce harmlessly off their shields, the fleet's secrets slowly began to reveal themselves. The asteroid field loomed ahead of humanity's fleet, a swirling mass of destruction that had claimed countless ships over the centuries. Trial Field Alpha was notorious across the galaxy, a graveyard of vessels that had dared to enter its chaotic domain. Rocks the size of moons tumbled unpredictably, their surfaces jagged and scarred. Metallic debris from past wreckages floated like silent specters, a grim reminder of the field's deadly reputation. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Commander Vega stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her gaze fixed on the holographic display. The asteroid field was mapped in intricate detail, each fragment and gravity well highlighted in glowing red. Around her, the crew worked with quiet intensity, their movements precise and purposeful. "Engage Phase 1, Vega ordered. The fleet responded instantly. The 12 ships adjusted their formations, spreading out just enough to maintain cohesion while avoiding collisions. Their engines flared softly, propelling them into the field with measured grace. In the council chamber, the alien delegates watched the live feed in silence. The mockery that had filled the room earlier was gone, replaced by a tense curiosity. The first wave of debris struck. Small fragments of rock and metal hurtled toward the fleet at staggering speeds, but the ships were ready. Energy shields shimmered to life, absorbing the impact with ease. The shield's design was a marvel of human engineering, a testament to decades of trial and error. Unlike the brute force barriers used by other species, humanity's shields were adaptive, redistributing energy to prevent overloads. On board the Resolute, Lieutenant Arjun Patel monitored the shield systems with a critical eye. "Shields holding steady," he reported, his voice calm. "No significant energy loss." "Good," Vega replied. "Maintain course. Let's show them what precision looks like." The fleet pressed deeper into the field. The larger asteroids began to appear, their immense gravity wells threatening to pull the ships off course. But humanity's fleet was prepared for this too. The advanced AI that linked the ships analyzed the gravitational forces in real time, calculating adjustments to their trajectories with mind-boggling speed. It was as if the fleet was dancing through the chaos, each ship moving in perfect harmony with the others. In the council chamber, the silence grew heavier. The delegates leaned forward in their seats, their eyes glued to the display. A crystalline ambassador, whose body refracted light like a prism, broke the silence. "Their coordination is impressive," they admitted, their voice resonating like a chime. "But this is only the beginning. The inner field will test them." As if on cue, the fleet reached the field's inner region. Here, the debris was denser, the gravity wells more erratic. The asteroid fragments moved with terrifying speed, colliding and shattering into smaller pieces that ricocheted unpredictably. It was a maelstrom of destruction, a place where even the most advanced ships had met their end. "Phase 2, Vega commanded. The fleet's movements changed. The ships began to weave through the debris with even greater agility, their engines firing in short, controlled bursts. The Endurance took the lead, its experimental shielding absorbing impacts that would have torn lesser vessels apart. Behind it, the Vanguard deployed a series of drones, small, nimble machines equipped with powerful tractor beams. The drones latched onto the larger fragments of debris, pulling them aside to clear a path for the fleet. On the Vanguard's bridge, Chief Engineer Mei Lin watched the operation with satisfaction. "Drones are performing as expected," she reported. "Pathway is stable." "Excellent," Vega said. She turned to Patel. "Prepare the gravity manipulator. It's time to end this." Patel nodded, his fingers flying across his console. At the center of the fleet, the Nova, a slightly larger ship, deployed the gravity manipulator. The device was a gleaming sphere, its surface etched with intricate patterns that glowed with an eerie blue light. As it activated, the asteroid field began to change. The delegates in the council chamber gasped. The debris, once chaotic and uncontrollable, now moved in synchronized patterns. The gravity manipulator was bending the field to humanity's will, turning a deadly obstacle into a navigable pathway. This is impossible," an avian delegate squawked, their feathers ruffling in disbelief. "No species has ever." "Humanity has always thrived on the impossible," Vega said, her voice calm but firm. She stood tall on the holographic display, her presence commanding. "We don't just survive. We adapt. We innovate. And when the odds are against us, we prevail." The fleet emerged from the asteroid field unscathed, their ships gleaming against the backdrop of destruction. In the council chamber, the silence was deafening. No one dared to speak, their disbelief etched into their alien features. Commander Vega looked directly into the holographic feed, her gaze piercing. "Now tell me," she said, her tone sharp as a blade, "still think size is everything?" The asteroid field was behind them, and humanity's fleet had emerged unscathed. In the Grand Galactic Council chamber, the silence was electric. Delegates sat frozen in their seats, their expressions ranging from awe to disbelief. Even the most arrogant of the alien representatives struggled to find words. But as the fleet regrouped in open space, a new signal appeared on the Vanguard sensors. It was faint at first, a single blip on the edge of their scanners. Then it multiplied, growing stronger and more distinct. Commander Vega's brow furrowed as the data poured in. Multiple vessels approaching, Lieutenant Patel reported, his tone sharp. Unknown configuration, they're not Council-affiliated. Vega's jaw tightened. On screen, the holographic display shifted, revealing a fleet of ships emerging from the shadows of a nearby nebula. These ships were unlike anything the Council had deployed, sleek, angular, and bristling with weapons. Their dark hulls reflected no light, making them appear as shadows against the stars. Pirates? Mei Lin guessed, her hands hovering over her console. Vega shook her head. No, these ships are too advanced for pirates. Patel's face darkened as new information populated his console. Commander, I think we're looking at the Krell Dominion. They've been building up their forces in the Outer Rim for years. If they're here now, it's not a coincidence. The Krell Dominion. The name alone was enough to send a chill through the bridge. The Krell were a predatory species, infamous for their ruthlessness and technological prowess. They had no interest in diplomacy or alliances. To them, the galaxy was a hunting ground, and every other species was prey. In the Council chamber, the holographic feed updated to display the approaching Krell fleet. A wave of panic rippled through the delegates. The crystalline ambassador's voice chimed nervously. The Krell have no place here. The Council forbade their presence in this sector. They don't care about your rules, Vega said coldly, her voice cutting through the rising chaos. They're here for one reason, to test us. Above the celestial conflux, the Krell ships slowed, their formation tightening into an aggressive spearhead. A single transmission crackled over humanity's comms, the voice guttural and filled with malice. Humans, the Krell commander growled, his words dripping with contempt. We've watched you from the shadows, waiting to see if you were worth our time. Your little demonstration in the asteroid field was amusing. But now we will see how you fare against a real enemy. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving no room for negotiation. The Krell fleet surged forward, their weapons charging for an attack. Battle stations, Vega barked. The bridge crew sprang into action, their training kicking in. Red lights bathed the Vanguard's interior as alarms blared. The human fleet shifted into a defensive formation, their movements precise and deliberate. Each ship took its position, creating overlapping fields of fire and shield coverage. The advanced AI network buzzed with activity, coordinating the fleet's response in real time. The first volley came fast and hard. Beams of searing energy lanced through the void, aimed directly at humanity's ships. The Endurance took the brunt of the assault, its experimental shields flaring brightly as they absorbed the impact. On board, the crew worked frantically to redistribute power, their faces grim but determined. Shields holding, Patel reported, though his voice was tight. But they won't last forever. Return fire, Vega ordered. Target their lead ships and disrupt their formation. The fleet responded with deadly precision. Energy beams and railgun projectiles streaked across the battlefield, striking the Krell ships with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions rippled through the enemy fleet, but the Krell were relentless. For every ship they lost, another surged forward to take its place. On the Vanguard's bridge, Vega studied the tactical display, her mind racing. The Krell were stronger and more numerous, but they weren't invincible. Humanity's strength had never been in brute force. It was in strategy, adaptability, and the ability to turn the tide of battle. Chief Engineer Lin, Vega said, her voice steady. Can we use the gravity manipulator offensively? Mei Lin hesitated, calculating the risks. It's possible, but it wasn't designed for that. If we overload it, the device could destabilize. Do it, Vega said without hesitation. We don't have a choice. Lynn nodded, her fingers flying across the controls. At the center of the fleet, the Nova deployed the gravity manipulator once more. But this time, instead of stabilizing the environment, the device unleashed a controlled gravitational surge. The Krell ships closest to the manipulator were caught in its pull, their formations collapsing as they were dragged into one another. The council chamber erupted in gasps as the Krell fleet faltered. Ships collided, their hulls crumpling under the immense forces. The remaining Krell vessels scrambled to regroup, their spearhead formation shattered. "Now's our chance," Vega said. "All ships, focus fire on their command vessel." The fleet concentrated their attacks, their weapons converging on a massive Krell ship at the center of the enemy formation. The ship's shields flared and buckled under the onslaught, and finally, with a deafening explosion, it was destroyed. The remaining Krell ships hesitated, their confidence shaken. One by one, they retreated, vanishing back into the nebula from which they had come. On the Vanguard's bridge, the crew let out a collective breath of relief. Vega allowed herself a small smile, but her eyes remained sharp. This wasn't just a victory, it was a warning. Humanity's fleet had proven its strength, but the galaxy was watching, and not all of them would be allies. "Damage report," Vega said, her voice returning to its usual calm. "Minimal damage across the fleet," Patel replied. "The Endurance took the worst of it, but repairs are already underway." "Good," Vega said. She turned to face the holographic feed, addressing the Council once more. "You asked why humanity revealed its strength today. Now you know. The galaxy is not as safe as you'd like to believe. And if we are to survive, we must be ready to face threats like the Krell, together." The council chamber was silent, the delegates too stunned to respond. Humanity had not only proven its worth, but had also reminded the galaxy of the dangers lurking beyond its borders. And as the fleet regrouped above the celestial conflux, one thing was clear. The age of underestimating humanity was over. The battle was over, but its echoes lingered in the vastness of space. Above the celestial conflux, humanity's fleet regrouped, their ships battered but unbroken. The Krell Dominion had been driven back, their fleet in shambles, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy had witnessed a force that could stand against them. In the Grand Galactic Council chamber, the silence was deafening. No one dared to speak, their alien faces frozen in shock. The holographic display still showed the aftermath of the battle. Krell wreckage scattered like ash, humanity's ships holding formation like sentinels. Commander Vega stood at her podium, her expression calm but resolute. "You asked what humanity's intent was," Vega said, her voice steady but laced with quiet anger. "You mocked our fleet, dismissed our strength, and doubted our resolve. Today, you've seen the truth. Humanity is not a species to be underestimated." A crystalline delegate finally broke the silence, their voice resonating like a chime. You defeated the Krell. No one has ever done that. How?" Vega's gaze swept across the room, meeting the eyes of each delegate in turn. "We did it the same way we always have, through ingenuity, determination, and unity. Humanity has faced extinction more times than I can count. Climate collapse, wars, pandemics, asteroid impacts. We've survived them all. Every time the universe tried to destroy us, we adapted, we evolved." The avian ambassador, who had mocked the fleet earlier, ruffled her feathers nervously. "And what do you seek now, Commander? Conquest? Dominance?" Vega's lips curved into a faint smile, but her eyes were steely. "Humanity seeks neither conquest nor dominance. We seek peace, trade, and cooperation. But let me be clear, we will not bow and we will not be erased. We've earned our place among the stars and we intend to keep it. The council erupted into debate, the delegates' voices overlapping in a cacophony of opinions. Some argued for immediate alliances with humanity, recognizing the potential of their strength and ingenuity. Others, wary of humanity's rapid rise, called for caution, fearing the implications of such power in the hands of a once minor species. As the discussions raged on, Vega turned and walked away from the podium. She had said what needed to be said. The rest was up to them. Above the station, the fleet began its return to the Vanguard. The crew of the flagship worked tirelessly to assess the damage and coordinate repairs. On the bridge, Lieutenant Patel leaned back in his chair, letting out a long breath. "Well," he said, breaking the silence, "that was something." Mei Lin chuckled, her hands still moving across her console. "You can say that again." "I wasn't sure the gravity manipulator would hold." "It did," Vega said, stepping onto the bridge. Her voice was calm, but there was a glint of pride in her eyes. "And you all performed flawlessly. The galaxy knows what humanity is capable of now, thanks to you." Patel gave a small smile. "It wasn't just us, Commander. This fleet, this technology, it's the product of everything humanity has been through. Every hardship, every challenge, it all led to this moment." Vega nodded, her gaze shifting to the viewport. The stars stretched endlessly before them, a vast expanse of possibilities. "And it's only the beginning," she said quietly. "The galaxy is watching us now. Some will try to ally with us. Others will see us as a threat. Either way, we have to be ready." Lin glanced up from her console. "What's our next move, Commander?" Vega's expression hardened. "We rebuild, we improve, and we prepare. The Krell won't forget this, and neither will the Council. If we want to survive, we have to keep moving forward." In the days that followed, the galaxy began to change. News of humanity's victory spread like wildfire, reaching every corner of the known universe. On planets far and wide, beings of all shapes and sizes whispered the same name, humanity. For some, the name inspired awe. They saw humanity as a beacon of hope, a species that had defied the odds and emerged stronger for it. For others, it sparked fear. They saw humanity as a disruptor, a wild card that threatened to upend the balance of power. Treaties were renegotiated, alliances reformed. Delegates who had once dismissed humanity now sought their favor, eager to secure a place on the right side of history. The Krell Dominion, nursing their wounds, retreated to their borders, their ambitions tempered but not extinguished. On Earth, humanity celebrated its newfound place in the galaxy. But amid the celebrations, there was a sense of caution. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, and humanity's rise had painted a target on its back. There was no telling what challenges lay ahead. As the Vanguard prepared for its next mission, Vega stood alone in her quarters, gazing out at the stars. She allowed herself a rare moment of reflection, her thoughts drifting to the past. She thought of Earth, its blue skies and green fields, the home they had left behind. She thought of the struggles that had brought them here, the sacrifices that had shaped their path. And then she thought of the future, the challenges, the opportunities, the endless possibilities. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not through conquest, but through resilience, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to survive. As the stars glittered outside her window, Vega smiled. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long, but now they knew the truth. Small didn't mean weak. It meant underestimated, and humanity thrived on being underestimated.